Welcome back, parents. You know, one of the things I'm really passionate about as a parent is personal protection and planning as a family. There are so many unpredictable things that happen in our neighborhoods, schools, at a concert, or even at a park when you're just having a simple picnic with your family on a Sunday. And so I think it's vital that we have a plan as a family on how to protect ourselves if we're in a situation where there's violence and we need to get away. It's not enough just for us as parents to know the plan, but for our kids to be in the dark. So a few years ago, Josh and I and our kids decided to participate in a program. It's a family emergency readiness program that we found through the Able Shepherd program here in Denver. And we were so impressed by the way that they were able to walk us through different exercises and reality-based scenarios, like real scenarios you'd be in as a family, and do that with our kids with us in such a beautiful way that really helped unite us and helped us to come up with a plan for how to escape a situation that could be potentially violent. And so that program was put on by our guest for today's show, Jimmy Graham. So welcome to the show, Jimmy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, guys, Jimmy's a veteran U.S. Navy SEAL. He's also a former CIA protective officer and a fellow on community safety at the Centennial Institute. He's a nationally recognized expert on community safety and readiness, with an emphasis on shootings and violent encounters. And Jimmy, you are also a family man.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your family.
That's the highlight of that bio. You know, you got to send the bios in, and I make sure that, you know, when I send them in, that's the highlight of that is also, a loving father and a very proud husband. You know,
yes.
Got an amazing wife that has focused on 4 amazing children with me, and I just love it. I love being a dad.
Wow. Well, okay, before you go into all the family stuff, because we're going there.
Good,
this is a family
good.
show. We want to know all about it. But tell us a little bit about your experience as a Navy SEAL and how that kind of led to your passion for protection here in our community and starting this organization, Able Shepherd.
Yeah, I was kind of a handful as a young man, you know, the high school years, later high school in particular, and just had a lot of energy. And I've learned since that if that energy isn't intentionally put somewhere, it'll default to somewhere bad. And it was starting, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I needed a challenge. I needed to grow up. I needed some structure. So I found a challenge, a big one, you know, and that was the U.S. Navy SEAL teams. Came in a little bit later than some of the guys at about 21 years old. And I tell people I grew up in the SEAL teams, you know,
wow.
Just getting that structure and a paycheck and a vision. Was very blessed to make it through BUDS, which is basic underwater demolition SEAL training
wow.
in one go. Not quitting, not getting hurt. A lot of good men get hurt, and then that's why they can't make it. And we're just very fortunate to not have that happen. BUDS class 208 back in 1996.
Wow.
And it's it's a pay in advance, organization. If you pay and make it through BUDS, and then you're the right cut for that institution, they take care of one another. They take care of each other. It's good.
Goodness. So that was what, 15, how many years ago?
Oh, I don't know. 1996 is when I showed up at BUDS. Went in on Halloween into the Navy in 1995. And, I did a little over 8 years at SEAL Team 8 and deployed, 3 times. It's a 2-year cycle to where you would, back then it was, you'd work up for a year and a half with the same guys and deploy for 6 months and then come back and do it over and then do it over. And become quite good at what SEALs are known for. So it was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
While you were in the SEALs, were you married? Did you have children at that time?
I did not. I did not. So the SEAL team deployments, I stayed reserves after my 8+ years active duty. I stayed active reserves, which they would call you back in, send you down to South America. I had not worked South America, so that was kind of cool to see that.
Wow.
And go down there and train folks down there and kind of watch watch the back door, train people to watch the southern door, which I guess isn't a thing anymore. But anyways, we used to watch that pretty closely to see who was coming into our country. And it was a great experience there. I was recruited by the CIA to be a bodyguard trainer and then also do the job as a bodyguard, GRS, Global Response Staff. And that's when I re-met my wife. We dated for like 5 minutes before I went off to the Navy, and then re-met as adults and fell in love and started a family.
That is awesome. So it was during your time as a protective officer that you reconnected with her.
Correct.
And then you moved on from that position.
We stayed there for a while. I moved to, the family moved to Montana. That was just dream chasing. And I've just been called to Montana so many times and I love it. I don't think Montana's done with me, but somehow convinced her to do a destination wedding just north of Yellowstone, little tiny town called Prairie, Montana. Chico Hot Springs is what it's called. Kind of rustic, beautiful little ranch. And that's where we got married, and then convinced her to move to Montana, to Helena, Montana for just shy, I think, of 4 years. And then family brought us to Castle Rock, Colorado.
Okay, so her family was here, or yours?
Her sister, my sister-in-law, and their family, and she wanted to raise the families together. And she said that one day, so I just put it on a calendar. Said, on this day we're moving. She said, well, what if we don't sell the house? On this day we're moving, and the Lord worked it out, and we got in a moving truck that day and moved. Unfortunately, we lost her sister to cancer several years ago. Sorry. And then her family moved down to Arizona to get her treatment and ended up staying there. So that was kind of the reason we moved here. It's not here anymore, but it's a good fit for us here. Rocky Mountains are just my style. So
yeah,
totally digging it.
And what a special thing, looking back, I suppose, after losing her, to be here for a period of time with her before that happened, not knowing that might have been in her future.
Yeah, I'm working on a book. I've been working on it for a little bit. And one of the chapters or sub-chapters is called Unfinished Basements. Like, we moved into their unfinished basement while we put all our stuff in storage so we could just find our feet and get a house and do all that. And then we're blessed with a couple of years with that family. And then when she got sick, they moved into our unfinished basement. And it was just special time. It was a gift, and we didn't know it yet.
Oh, right? Wow. And just being led, allowing yourselves to be led by the Spirit, or just moved by when you move to Colorado, let's do it on this day, and then just following each other and saying, yes, as a couple, okay, let's do this. And then, wow.
Yeah, and being led that, she's just amazing that she supported my crazy dreams forever. And then, fellas, when you hear your wife say, truly, like, I want this, listen.
Yes.
and then take action, right? Get after it.
Wow. That's awesome. So then you started having kids here. You've raised them here in Colorado.
We had a little girl in Virginia.
Okay.
Then we moved to Montana, and we had another little girl. And then we moved here and then had a little boy. And then, surprise, another little girl. And they're awesome. 3
girls and a boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now the oldest is 15, so driving permit and all that, but reinforcements just showed up, right?
Absolutely.
So, and we got a 13-year-old. So now it's like they're very good at, at raising the boy. I tell them, hey, I'm raising a man, and they're helping. Like, I'll look over and say, I'm leaving. Hey, you're the man of the house. And he's like, yes, sir. And I look over to Rebecca, and she goes, I got him. Like, she knows who's in charge, but she's going to let him feel.
Totally.
It's so good.
That's so good. Yeah. I feel like we need more of that, in our families, is just allowing kind of those next level responsibilities and trusting them in that, right? You train them, and then you trust them to do it.
Right. Right. And then could they replicate it? Just talking about the training thing, there's one thing to check a box. There's another thing to have it, can they replicate it without you there?
Yes.
Right. And then my daughter's just amazing discernment. And there's no doubt in my mind. Like, when she was a little kid, she was that one where the teachers would say, like, hey, if there's some kind of emergency or something, I'm like, tell Rebecca to get these kids to X, and she will.
Yes.
And they're like, I believe you. Cause like, it's borderline bossy.
Right.
Like, but when you need somebody to take charge, she's the one.
Yes.
Right? And it's cool. And all the kids aren't like that, and they haven't grown into that yet, but she is. And usually there's a kid in that class, and it honors them to give them that kind of responsibility.
Absolutely. I love the word honor, because it's true, and they get such, pride about themselves when they're able to take care of a situation, especially young men. And it's just something that we have to nurture in them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So they'll be ready.
There was another young man that was a good buddy of mine, his son, and we kind of pulled him out of class and said, hey, with permission, obviously school, all that stuff. And they, if we need to get kids to safety and the teachers can't do it, we need you. And we took him for a walk and said, this is the reunification point. This is how you go. This is plan A down the street. But if there's a threat, don't go down the street, because if there's a vehicle involved, it could be a weapon. Go this way. And it did. It lifted him up and said, can we count on you for that? And he's like, yes, sir.
Oh,
yeah, it's good stuff.
I love hearing that. So that happened at the school where your kids go. So you have participated with that school in preparing them in case of an active shooter situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Every school they've been to, and that was a previous Christian school. Right now they're at a charter school. Same thing. We're in there, and we do. It's funny that the students actually coordinated this for 2 years in a row, where they asked if I would come in for PE and do a self-defense type class, and they're laughing and it's fun, and I'm throwing dodgeballs and they're learning how to block them, and in case somebody took a swipe at their face, like punching.
Sure.
But you just teach them a foundational thing where they're all kind of laughing, breaking a sweat, and doing some physical activity. And they love it. It's like training doesn't have to be regimented, like major pain, like this military kind of thing. It's like, hey, my kids have been training since they were, hip high. And it's been fun. It's been a little through form of exercise and all that kind of stuff. And like we do a thing called Link to Me that you know about, it's like you link to me and they'll touch me, pockets, belt, elbow, whatever. And we've been doing it since they were little, crossing parking lots. And we have had some situations that got a little heated. Language, not even aimed at us, but just dangerous situations. I look back, they're linked to their mom, they're heading that way. Right. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that has to be built.
That's right. So your kids all know exactly what to do when you say a certain command or,
yes,
they're moving and they move in a certain direction. They know who to link to in the line and which way to
within seconds. They would be physically touching myself or Rachel. To buy us a second to put a plan together, we'd be moving as a family, not just like you look up and everybody spreads to the four winds. Not going to happen. Why? Because we trained them otherwise. We had a conversation. We've been doing things in a parking lot. Now, the parking lot's so they don't get hit by a car. But what they're really learning is a thing called linking that we taught CIA personnel. Like if you get scared and something blows up or somebody shoots or whatever, get behind me and touch my shoulders because I need to be messing with my gun or whatever, right? I need both hands.
Yes.
I tell people, jokingly, that Whitney Houston, Kevin Costner bodyguard movie where you're like carrying a woman and fighting a dude, that's not a thing, right? You need your hand. So you're going to need to have your hands accessible and be 100%, but you are accountable. So if I look over and they're linked onto Rachel and she's moving them to safety, I'm going to be on the line between what we call package and the greatest threat. So there's the threat, there's my family, I'm standing between them until we figure out that next plan.
Yes, that's what I loved about that family emergency readiness program.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember we were all in this room and it was kind of this, simulation. It felt really real, like, hey, you're sitting at the table at Chili's and someone walks through the door and decides this is going to go down, right? Yeah. What do you do? And you trained us exactly how to link onto Josh, or me, if he's making a plan to help protect us or anyone else in that situation. And then we go through the other rooms as if we're exiting the restaurant, to get to the back door or whatever. And people are coming at us and we're like, fighting them. And the kids, you would think that would frighten children, right? To be put in a situation like that. But the way you and your staff were just so gentle with us and used language that was understandable to our kids. I think our youngest was 7 at the time. Mm-hmm. And a girl. And they just didn't have any anxiety about it. As a matter of fact, I think they felt so much better afterwards because it was like, wow, we have a formulated plan. We know what to do. And so we have what we call a family huddle every Sunday at our house. And so it's usually about an hour long now. Started out being maybe 10 minutes where we'd go over the calendar and just kind of get everybody communicating about the happenings of the family and making sure that we're talking about anything that's coming up so that we can be, aware and plan for this. Well, after that program, we started practicing our link on.
Oh, that's so good.
In that. And it'd be random. Josh would just be like, link on. And then we'd jump out of our chairs and, and out the front door. And so another thing that we experienced in that program was, I don't remember, it wasn't live, but it must have been a video that you showed of a gentleman that had videotaped himself with his children in their beds, right? And they were all practicing a fire drill.
Oh, that was me.
Oh, that was you.
Yeah, that was my family.
That was your family.
Yeah, they were so little.
That was so awesome. And so you were explaining in the video, like everybody's in their beds now and you can see them in their beds.
Got the blindfolds on.
Yes, they had blindfolds on.
Mom was out of town. It was awesome.
That was so cool. And so the whole idea was, if there's a fire at your house or something happens, like, how are you going to get yourselves out? I mean, this is something that if your children go to school, they learn how to do from their classroom. They practice it once or twice a year. But how many families honestly have a full fire escape plan in their homes and have communicated with neighbors down the street that, hey, can we come there if our house is on fire or there's a threat? I was thinking we didn't even have one at that time. Yeah. So we practiced it. And so when you came into the studio today, my husband and I were joking about how there's marks all over our screens here because
I'm pushing them out and practicing. That's so good.
We dropped down after your class. We got the extendable ladders that you can throw out the window. We got tourniquets, put them in our cars. We got all prepared and continue to practice. How do we do this as a family? It's just, I don't know. What are kind of the statistics? Do you know of, like, on average, how many families have a plan in place to escape their home?
I don't know, other than most don't, right? I don't know a statistic as far as a number. I just know that once that happens, it's test time, right? It's test day. And what happens next, there's been preparation for it. So example, I go on a daddy-daughter camp out with my girls this year, right? And it was super cool. And it was all these families, and we're standing there in shallow water. The girls are in a little deeper spot, and I see one of the dads dives in. And as soon as I see his feet come up, alarms start going off in my head. He stands up and he dove headfirst into a rock, and he's gushing blood.
Oh,
right. My. And I'm like, hey, come to me right now. Walk to me. And I'm like, I go into like military mode, walk to me now, because he's about to fall over. It looks like he got clubbed. His eyes are just not right. I'm like, hey, come walk to me. He starts walking over there. It's real cold water. I'm okay. I'm like, you're not okay. Walk to me. But he's wet. Puts his hand up, feels it, and he's just pouring blood. Right.
Oh my.
So I kind of yell over my shoulder, my truck right now. Behind the passenger seat, it's unlocked. Bring me that med kit. And it's just a tearaway, med kit that we sell, and we put them in vehicles just to be there, right?
Yes.
And another dad brings it, throws it to my daughter who's 13, and now it's kind of cool because she's sitting there like dispensing what I need, and now it's pressure. I just run over and grab the dude's head and put direct pressure on it, and then we get some stuff, and then I dress it, wrap his head. Now we're off to the emergency room because we're really you might have messed up your spine, all this stuff. And he's got a good 3 gouges, one that's just nasty, and then head rolled forward and 2 more. And I hear something from the girls. They're like, everybody's just kind of frozen.
Yes.
Mouths are open, eyes are big. And I hear, and this is just such a compliment, that as dads, sometimes it's just gold. I hear my 15-year-old, they're like, what? Why did he do that? What happens? Like, is everything? And she goes, it's okay. My dad's got it. And I'm like, because I'm kind of like, oh, this is serious.
Yes.
Help his neck. And I'm just kind of in that mode. And one daughter's sitting there dispensing medical equipment to me. And the other one's like, my dad's here. We're good guys.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't know if we are because it's next, whatever. But it was just awesome to hear, that they feel safe. And they're like, hey, my dad's here.
They trust that you've got this situation.
My family's got a plan. There's even stuff in our truck. And why? Because of right now. We didn't plan on this. We're just hanging out at the creek.
That's right.
The river. And now there's a guy gushing out blood, and he might have neck trauma, so. And then I'm like, hey, everybody get in my truck right now, wet, everything. Go to the emergency room. You guys got this. Watch my kids.
Yep.
I'll take care of my kids, and I'm off to the emergency room. From the mountains, right? So we got to go find a hospital. So
yes,
yeah. And why? Because he needs it. Like, people are like, was that military training? I'm like, that guy needs a help training. Like, it's our job to take care of each other. That's our duty and our honor and our responsibility to take care of one another.
Yes, I've heard you say that so many different times in interviews, and that you're all about protecting people in general.
Yeah, and that was something that I learned about me that kind of surprised me. I know this sounds weird, is I actually care about people I don't know. And you're like, well, who doesn't? I'm like, a lot of people actually don't. Like last night, I'm leaving church. We did this First Tuesdays thing at Brave Church, and I'm rolling out, and a guy's just sitting there in a very dangerous spot on Hamden going east, right up the hill from our church. And he's just, I don't know what's going on. So I circle back to find out, and his car stopped. And I said, let's get you out of the road. So I put my truck in the way, much bigger truck with lights and all that kind of stuff, flashers, push him out of the road. Mexican fellow that didn't speak a lot of English. I speak some Spanish, but there's a young lady there, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go get him gas. He gave me like $15, and they go, so get him off the road, pull up there. She pulls in 7-Eleven. I go, ma'am, I pull in behind her. I'm like, do you mind if I handle this? Is it, young lady probably shouldn't be hanging out in the middle of the night, doing all this stuff by herself. And I was like, I can do this. And she's like, oh, appreciate it. Get him gas, come back out and buy a tank, do all this stuff and bring it back and help him out. And it was a much bigger, it wasn't gas. It was a significant problem with his car. So he's calling his dad and all this other stuff. But, you good? I'm good, whatever. But the number of people that didn't stop, and I get it. Sometimes I've just got stuff to do and I can't, right?
Sure.
that's that, no excuses. And I don't know this guy. I just know he's in a spot. I'll get you a can and some gas, and you're gonna need some more gas, by the way, so take your money back and all that kind of stuff. But that used to be the thing. If you ever go to like Canada, I did a motorcycle ride, 12,000 mile motorcycle ride to honor a fallen SEAL buddy.
Oh, wow.
If you get up into the big country like Alaska and Canada, everybody stops. Why? Because there's nobody else coming. So
That's right.
they depend on each other. Because if I broke down, I would need you bad. So you're broken down, so I got you. And it's just a felt thing. Or we'd pull over for something. They go, you good? We're like, we're good. Because there's not towns for miles and miles. So if you have we actually helped, this was back in 2010, somebody rolled their car, and we were the ones that carried the litter up to because there's only a couple of firefighters. So our motorcycle group carried the litter back up to the road for the volunteer firemen because they needed help. Couldn't do it.
Wow.
So it's like, that's an old, we say this isn't a new thing. It's a very old thing.
It
To
is.
get back to, we've just been very comfortable, which is the goal. We should be in this lap of luxury. You and I are ultra rich when you talk about globally.
Yes.
And we got comfortable and said, nah, somebody else's job. It's like, no, it's never been.
That's right. And I'm a firm believer we were not created for comfort.
That's right.
We grow and we are our best, and we go to the next level when we are in a place of discomfort, right?
Yeah.
Where we have to put our own passions and desires and our own, comforts aside. Like, man, you could have been home in bed, right? Or having a beer on the patio or something after your church night, and you went, this little still small voice just said, Jimmy, you better just circle back.
Yeah.
And you just tuned into that and just participated in the moment. We're 100% there. And then when that was over, then you went on your way.
Yeah. We call, to me, shepherding, my business able shepherd, that word shepherd means a lot. It means teacher, leader, and protector, right? And how do you shepherd? I'm going, you're invited. I can't make you do anything. I'm just going to go do this thing. Everybody would expect or hope that somebody would would stop and help their wife and children on the side of the road. Then why aren't you doing it? Like, where's that person going to come from? Right?
Yes.
So you got to model it and watch these little people go, that's the right thing to do, or there won't be any.
Yes.
And that's not just side of the road stuff. That's life. It's like that. The guys make fun of me for the shopping cart thing because I don't know, it's a pet peeve of mine. Put the shopping cart back in the crib. Like,
every time.
I'm busy. Like, let the kid make a minimum wage do that in the rain. It's like, no, you borrowed that convenience they provided for you, return it. And then it makes it a little bit easier for the next guy. And that concept instilled in a young person is the difference. It's the difference, right?
Absolutely. And it's the small things like that, right? We are kind of the decisions that we make in the small moments.
Yeah.
And so it's so important. I love to hear that you're training your kids in this way. You're modeling for them this behavior that, yes, if it takes an extra minute, do it.
Yeah.
It's a right thing.
And it's small. People are like, hey, what's a big significant thing we do? It's a million small things, right? Totally. I've got I did a podcast called Graham Family Sayings because I've got them, and I'm writing about this, and I'll tell my kids like simple things like, Grahams don't lie, cheat, or steal. And they say, or litter, because they know I hate litter, right? And they're like, or litter. Or I'll say, stay safe. And they repeat back, stay dangerous. Or just, there's hundreds of them. And they hear them all the time. And, he's like, oh, this kid did that. And I'm like, I just did this again yesterday. My son's talking about some kid that did something. I go, well, are you in charge of him? He goes, no. Who are you in charge of? He says, me. I go, what are you going to do? He says, better. And we say that all the time. It's like, hey, he can do whatever he wants, but what are you going to do about it?
That's right.
Do better. I'm going to do this. I'm like, okay, it's a better plan. Let's go.
Yes. Focus on what you can change, right? Which is ourselves, and we can always be growing to do better. I love that. Just kind of putting that back on your kids. Now, when we spoke on the phone before this interview, you mentioned that there was something really cool. I thought it was really cool that you do with your kids every morning before you kind of all go your own separate ways. And I wondered if you'd share that with us on this episode. Like
I don't even remember what it is. Is it the car thing?
The little huddle up where you guys eat, or maybe that was it. The Graham Family Sayings where you say something to your kids and then they echo something back to you.
In the truck, you mean?
Yes.
Because we do a bunch of stuff, but like I don't say I get to take my kids to school, right? Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it is the baby. And then on Tuesday and Thursdays, it's the older kids plus neighbor kids, right? We carpool from Castle Rock to Lone Tree. But it's just a fun thing where I get in and I go, okay, sound off when you're buckled. And you'll hear Christian buckled, Cambria buckled, Rebecca buckled, Sarah buckled. And I go, Daddy buckled, rolling. And they'll go, wheels up, and I mash the gas, right?
That's awesome.
And it's funny just from that protector world, even in the military, they'd understand that, we would check out of GRS if you're bodyguards and you're heading out into Iraq or Afghanistan or, whatever, Beirut, Lebanon, whatever. You would call in on the radio and you would say, hey, we're rolling. And then, wheels up. We'd let the other vehicles know, hey, I'm leading out, rolling. They'd all fall behind, and somebody would call to base, say, hey, we're wheels up. And somebody would write that time on a board because they left at this time and we're expecting back on this time. You can't lose track of guys that are out in the field.
That's right.
So that's where that comes from. And it's just a fun thing that they absolutely love, right? These other families kind of joke about it. And then when we pull up to the school, I say, what are we going to do today? And they all sound off and say, ACEs, which means get A's, or they say, you know, be kind to other people, or, you know, just whatever, model courage, be kind, whatever. And they all kind of sound off. And then I say, I love you, like to all of them, even not my kids.
Yeah.
Right? I'd be like, love you, Becca, have a great day. I love you, Sarah, have a great day. Love you, Cams, somebody else's daughter, have a great day. I love you, Christian, have a great day. They're like, love you, Dad. And all of a sudden they'll come over, give me a kiss, and then they go. But it's just reminding them, right, every day. And then at night, every night, we do a thing that we've since called the promise. And I tell them, you know, they repeat after me. I say, I love you. They say, I love you. Proud of you. You're a good girl. I love being your daddy. I thank God for you. I'm always here for you. I love you always and forever. And they say, no matter what. I say, no matter what. And then I pray. And I say it every single night because I need them. I get it. They're going to grow up someday, and it's going to hurt, but I'm going to go from being the authority to the influence, right?
Yes.
And they're going to make good decisions and probably bad decisions. And if there's that moment when they're sitting there on a curb and they've done something stupid, or maybe they drink too much or whatever, I need them to remember, no matter what.
No matter what.
I'm calling my dad. You know, there's that image of God. Is it, I messed up, my dad's going to kill me? Or I messed up, I need to call my dad. And I need to come to their mind. I need to call my dad right now. He loves me. He's got more resources, and he would be here in a second.
Always forgiving.
That's right.
Right.
That's
always
right.
Loving, always forgiving. That's exactly what I was thinking of, what you talked about. I mean, that evening routine, so important. You know, we talk about how there's like 9 most important minutes of the day and in a child's day. And it's the first 3 minutes when they wake up in the morning. It's the first 3 minutes when they see you, when you pick them up from school, because they've been separated from you for the longest period of time, 8 hours or whatever. And then the last 3 minutes before they go to sleep at night. And for you to be filling their minds and their hearts with such a message like that is just beautiful.
That's fantastic. I haven't thought of it that way. That's good.
Yeah.
That 9 minutes.
3, 3, and 3.
Yeah, I know. And in public speaking, you know, this is a thing, and that's pretty much what I do now. Part of what I do is they say people remember the first thing and the last thing you say, right? So you start strong, finish strong, content in the middle, and all that stuff. But the thing that sticks, and that would align with that. So
yes.
It's good.
Yes. I mean, who wants to go to bed on a fight or jump out of the car, you know, ragging at each other to go into school? And just like we talked about at the beginning of the show, you have no idea what could happen.
That's right.
In the day. So making those connections and those bonds with your kids, you know, when you depart from each other and then you get back together is just vital, you know.
This popped in my head. Take pictures. Like, I was not a picture guy really in the military. I have some, but I have been that guy, unfortunately, too many times that's scrounging through a Rubbermaid container because you got a phone call that you lost somebody, right? For whatever circumstances. Because at that moment, those photos become gold, you know? So whether it be young people, older people, obviously there's older people in the program. There's really good friends of mine that just because of time and the age, not going to be around forever, you know? So when you're together and you do things, take pictures because you're going to be scrambling for them on that day. And documenting those memories of that thing you did, you know, lives on if you got it, you know. Like this new facility we're currently pursuing, we're going to decorate the decor of it's going to be our community. You know, it's like, isn't that you with your son when he was 6? Like, it is. What about that? Like the black and whites and the this and that, and the decor will be our community.
I love that. Well, speaking of your community, I imagine you have a lot of followers and a lot of community members that are just on board to do kind of whatever Jimmy Graham and his posse are doing right now. So tell us, what are some of the fun, exciting things that you guys are doing? You mentioned something about like off-road vehicles in the mountains or something.
It's so good. And this is something that I didn't plan. It just kind of, I think a lot of veterans get out of the military and they just look at what's available and they're like, man, I can't find a fit for me. There's those spiritual gifts and callings and I just couldn't find a thing. And I've talked to other vets like me neither. So I just settled for X. And I tell people I would not have known to pray for this. Like there wasn't that spot. So I had to create it, meaning God created a space and it's exactly me, right? So the thing that I say Able Shepherd is there is a very real threat that is hunting our kids, right? And it's Satan, but in the form of people, because it manifests as people, that the most innocent form of Jesus Christ is our children, both born and unborn, and they're under attack. Not in the shadows like before, it's in the daylight. They are under attack, and people are walking in to schools and hurting them. That needs to be addressed right now. Like that needs to be efficient and effective, and it needs to be somebody's coming in seconds, not minutes, seconds, right?
Yes.
So we're very focused on making that more efficient. On that day, I don't care about that, maybe a child, about their history and their dad, and I don't care. I don't care. You're a threat. You're hurting people. It's got to stop, right?
Right.
But I do care. Like on this day, I don't care. But ultimately, I do care. So how did kids get that broken where they're going to come in and shoot at mine? You know? So we have to focus not on one or the other, but both simultaneously. So we are, yes, doing that better than anybody in the nation. And I'll take the Pepsi challenge all day long because my objective is safe for kids, right? But this has already been created with tax dollars, very effective to make people better with less time and money. Right? We need to get on that really quick. Simultaneously, how do you make stronger men? When I say men, women are invited, but it's been my calling to pursue the hearts of men, right? So I say, I'm going, you're invited, and I'm going to take my son out on a motorcycle into those mountains for 4 days, and you're invited. And then 5 other families come, and we get to model strength. And I have a covenant agreement that is written out, and it says something like this, politics and religion. We can talk about them, but you're going to be respectful, right? Mm-hmm. Alcohol. Check your alcohol. My kid won't see you drunk, and neither will I. Even if they're not here and it's an adult thing, that's not what this is for. Your language, just choose adult words, you know?
Yes.
If you're going to talk like that, that's a bad example, and I can't have you here, right?
Yes.
And I tell people, you don't have to sign anything. You coming says you agree. And if you don't agree, stay home. That's cool. Like, right. I'm not charge you, charge me, right?
Yes.
What are you going to do better? I'm going to go this way and model strength for my kid. By the way, your kids, right? And then people come, and it's unbelievable. You know, we have these events with the just adult events, might be 9 days. They're called BDRs, Backcountry Discovery Routes. Our last one was insane. I mean, broken collarbone, 8 of the 10 motorcycles couldn't drive home. We're stuck in Utah. We had to hire a recovery team to go get 2 motorcycles out of the desert because trucks wouldn't make it back there. And, and to sum it up in a word, awesome. Awesome. It was because why? We needed each other, right?
Yes.
We literally, not like, hey, I got your back. Take care of one another's our motto at work. Take care of one another. No, really, hike in and come get me because my collarbone's broken. Then hike back into the desert, your motorcycle gear, and ride my motorcycle 3 hours to get it to a trailer. I got you, brother.
And you're smiling about this.
I didn't plan on doing this all night, but I guess we're here, and it makes you alive again. You're like, hey, this is real. You know, it's like we got sucked out of our little plastic bubble in Castle Rock that was safe, and we're in the middle of my nephew, 18, and my brother are stuck in Moab in the desert in the middle of the night. And I'm like, all right, I'm going in.
That's right.
So we hire a dude with this crazy rock crawler Jeep and a trailer, and I'm like, can I come with you? He's like, let's go. So that's what we do all night is just go get those guys out of there.
How fun. So your community, just like you said, I'm going, you're invited.
That's right.
Right? Like if you want to come along on this adventure, you're welcome.
Yeah.
We do have a covenant here, and you agree with it, you abide by it, or you stay home.
That's right. The language is gone, by the way. It's like, you know, that, and that's just a pet peeve of mine. And like I said, I'm not anybody's dad other than my kids is, I'm not saying you can't curse. I'm just saying you can't do it. I pay the rent here, and I do get to say what happens inside. You go out in the street and cuss to yourself if you want. And people, I've had guys in their 50s and 60s say, like, you know, 50s, my mom loves you. And I'm like, I've never met your mom. I know, but you got me to stop cursing. And I'm like, I didn't do anything, brother. You know, I just said you can't do it here.
That's right.
And he goes, I know, but then it checked me, and I really thought about it. I call it lost opportunity cost. You'll never know why you've never been invited to my home or why you've never met my kids. That's to tell you, right? I'm like, well, I just can't have them hear that kind of stuff. Well, I wouldn't do it around your kids. So you'd do it here, but not in front of my kids. I would call that double-minded. I don't even know who I'm talking to right now. It's kind of cowardly. And they go, yes, it is. And then they tighten up. You know? And I get it. You throw around or hit your thumb or something. We all,
sure.
And we show grace at that point, but that's not a thing that stays here. And it really has changed the culture.
Well, it waters down the conversation, right?
Right.
And it creates these extremes.
Yeah.
Where we want to be specific. We want to be able to communicate a message to somebody in a clear way. And when you muddle it up with curse words and, you know, the level of respect comes down for you, I think. And then it's just kind of like, wait, what's going on here? What are you really trying to say? Because there's a lot of emotion involved in something that maybe doesn't need all that.
When it's disrespectful, why do I have to have a conversation on the way home with my kids about your language? Because that's what's going to happen. Hey, Dad, why was so-and-so using so many? I'm like, and now we got to go down that road. You know? And in my mind, I'm like, we're probably not coming back, you know, because it's my job to present a good, healthy option to them. Yes. Right. So it's like, you know, and that's cool. I've told people directly to their face, and we've just been kind of cut off, and that's okay. We're actually probably better for it. And I've had other people saying, you know, I appreciate that, you know, and okay, that's like, not my thing, man. I'm not here judging your life and condemning you to hell. I'm just saying if this is going to be the atmosphere, we're going to find something better to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. We need strict boundaries and calling people to higher standards. That's really what the youth today and even adults, I mean, we crave. Yeah. We want to be called to the highest level possible, right? Because we slip and we get lazy and then to be around somebody that's like, oh no, not here. It's kind of like, oh, but then it's like, this feels good to be part of this.
It shouldn't be shameful. It should be like, I'm inviting you into excellence. And when you do that, you're like, this feels better. You know, like you've done it. You've walked down the street and you've heard somebody cuss. And if I stopped you right there, your whole family said, what do you think about that? Like, I wish that wouldn't have happened. Yeah. You know, and all of a sudden you start like separating from people in your life. And other times, you know, I tell this to my kids, sometimes I will separate from that. Sometimes I will endure, you know, that if it's for somebody else and it's a good friend of mine and they're going through it and all the time, I'll tell them I'm appreciative. But sometimes I do endure it to pursue that person, but I'm not going to ask my kids to do that. Yes. Right? They're just not equipped for it. Right.
Yes.
So, and my kids, what's beautiful is seeing this happen this week is, my girls, they're just beautiful like their mom. I just, you know, praise the Lord. And some kid was saying, he's like, hey, can you not talk like that? If you're gonna talk like that, go over there. And they do. And they're like, hey, can I come play with you again? Well, just talk right. And they're like, okay. So they're doing it. They're like, just kind of, and again, not in charge of you, but man, I'm trying to enjoy a game over here. And then here you come with all this language we don't care to hear.
Yes.
You know? And my son was at the volleyball game the other day for homecoming, and some kids, he's like, watch your language. And they're like, what's up with this kid? He's like this tall. You know, he's telling older kids like, hey man, cool. There's ladies around here and I don't care to hear that. And they could just keep on going, but okay, now I have to leave. I was wanting to hang out with you guys. They're like, man, it was cooler when he was here.
Exactly.
Dang it. You know?
Yes.
So I think it's just honest.
Yeah. And you're conditioning your kids to stand up for what's right and saying like, this can be done in love, guys. You don't have to, you know, get in someone's face and ask them to stop being who they are right now. Yeah. You know, but you can just say, hey, you mind, you know, trashing that language or, you know, you might doing that somewhere else. Yeah. And I just don't see that with kids. Yeah. We're at the park and you know, I'll do the same thing. I'll ask kids, hey man, can you please not ride your bicycle down the slide? I mean, my kids are on bikes right. And like, it's dangerous. Sure. And you're an example to them. And sometimes they get upset or whatever. And I'll just say, hey, why don't you guys go just ride somewhere else? And sometimes they'll give you a little flack or whatever, but I think it's important as parents too, to take a courageous stand and be bold and do it with love. You know, yeah. I'm inviting you to do this. I'm not telling you have to. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do to you if you don't, but here's another option. And here's how your behavior is affecting the kids around here. Yeah. Just standing up to protect our kids. And our kids see that.
And I've done this before with grown men, but then with kids as well. You got to read the room right and then use tactics that are appropriate for that. But I've said, hey guys, I'm trying to raise some ladies over here. Can you help me out? Like I don't care that hear that language and they're like, oh, sorry, brother, you know, like that kind of thing. But you're just not like, hey, watch it, because that's confrontational. But that's an art form that we're missing. I call it secundus optio. It's Latin for second option, because I was taught as a young man to just not set down. I don't think we get a class on this, but what was modeled for me was pretend you didn't see it. Like even something like you see somebody get assaulted or whatever, just pretend you didn't see it. And then I'm going to feel like a coward later for not saying something. Or just go over there and clock the guy, right? I've seen both of those throughout my life, but nobody taught me the middle part, that second option, right? Like how do you use intellect to say like, hey guys, and come over and just take all the steam out of the room and just be that model of in strength, not weakness. I see a lot of people, I turn the other cheek. I'm like, 'cause you don't really know how to do anything else, right? You're just kind of, but they try to sell it as strength. And I'm like, nah, I know you. Right. I don't think you're capable of the other thing is why you did that, right? So I think to be like meek would be the definition of meek would be I could do X, but I choose not to, right? I could come punch you out, but I'm not going to, because that's not the objective here. The objective is to let you know that's not okay to act like that. And you can, but now I have to leave. Like all those are, well, a biblical reference would be, you know, a woman caught in adultery, walking into what is a very dangerous life and death situation. Back then, stoning to death was that there's this energy that goes on with mobs, right? If you've ever seen this, it's just this, all of a sudden weak men feel strong and they just start, and it's very, very dangerous. We're trained to look and see this and avoid it and all that stuff in a protective capacity. But when you see that, to walk into that and get involved, put you a target on your back as well. I bet. But then to say like, okay, do I pretend I didn't see it, or do I call it out on a legion to wipe you out? Or do I use my intellect to write in the sand and say something true? Yes. Him without sin, cast the first stone. Everybody goes home. Wow. You just modeled how to de-escalate this entire thing and everybody goes home better, including this woman. Okay, go and sin no more. Right, we're good here.
That's
it's
right.
like that is a big, big lesson that we never get taught. I never got taught. And then I talk to 50, 60-year-old men and they go, can you teach me how to do that? I'm like, what? How to talk to other men. I'm like, you don't know how to talk to other men. Wow. How about we figure it out together? And we are.
Yes.
We are.
You have so much awesome stuff going on.
Man, I get to do this. This is amazing. It's a blessing, right? Because it's like, it's all connected. It's not like 20 segments of sporadic stuff. A leads to B leads to C. And I'm going towards healthy. I'm working on Jimmy Graham, and you're invited. And let's learn this stuff together. And, one of my spiritual leaders is my pastor and these buddies. And I get this community to kind of say, I tell them jokingly, you guys, you're all guinea pigs. We're just trying to figure this out.
That's right.
But we get to shoot guns and 4-wheel drives and motorcycles and take care of one another along the way. And it seems to be very attractive for people, and it's growing and it's healthy and it's good.
Awesome. Well, how do people find you if they want to kind of join the tribe, the Able Shepherd tribe? I mean, how would somebody find you?
So I tell people, if you want to learn about the program, the training program, it's ableshepherd.com. Able as in capable, shepherd as into shepherd, right? So ABLESHEPHERD.com. But I say, if you want to see the heart of the organization, you got to go to the YouTube channel, because we are, in particular, the one I'm probably the most proud of at this point is the 4-day adventure with the kids. Was awesome. I mean, it was emotional. It was amazing. It was such a cool thing of let's go model strength for these little ones, because they're our future, and many families, and just things where like a kid falls and it doesn't have to be his parent that picks him up. Somebody's going to pick him up and they know it. Or girls too. One young lady named Reagan, she's a sweetheart. And she was like, when they interviewed her after, she said, I just know when I fall, there'll always be somebody to pick me up. And we're like, it's just amazing. Right. And again, if you challenge them and require more of our young people, they'll show up. Like, invite them to excellence, that will show up every time, but we're not.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and you're inspiring me, because as being the leader of this organization of Families of Character, I think, especially a new leader here, sometimes we get put in a box, right? Or put ourselves in a box where we're like, okay, we're doing this one thing with our community. And what I hear you saying is like, hey, if people are interested in it, it seems like it would serve our community. And it may be a wild idea to jump on these motorcycles and go out into the mountains, and there's a lot of risks, right? And liability waivers and all these things, but you're like, let's put it together and let's make it happen. And people love it. That's what we love. We love wild ideas with a hint of danger and all this other stuff, and commitment and defend it on the calendar and all that kind of stuff. People love it. Or even how many people would come alive to defend a school? You know what I mean? We've talked about that. And I'm talking to more and more people about, we've got an idea on how do you build future schools? What if the building itself said, to get to them, you've got to go through me? That protective principle. Right. It's hard to go through concrete and brick and all that stuff. Make it beautiful, make it amazing, make it a community event where my business, the back of my business, actually protects your kids at play. Right. That's something that's doable. I presented that it was on C-SPAN for the Western Conservative Summit a couple of years ago, and people really scratching their heads, and we're pursuing that. It's just a long road to get there. Yeah, I bet. Well, anyway, we can support Able Shepherd and what you have going on, Jimmy. Just please don't hesitate to reach out. Yeah, I mean, will do. There's a lot of crossover with parents, in our community and families, and then just needing good, solid ideas and plans and training for how to protect ourselves and our families at home and in the community. I mean, it's just endless. So you've got a big adventure ahead of you. Yeah. And I know it takes a lot of support, and it takes money, and it takes people and employees and volunteers and everything. So if there's any way we can kind of cross our audiences and our communities and help support what you're doing, or get the word out, if you have some awesome opportunity like you just did with this mountain adventure coming our way, let us know, because we'd be happy to sign up and get people out there and absolutely, we'll take you up on that. I think it is that unifying thing. The line should be our kids. Yes, right? This should be something that gets us united and says, "Hey, we're gonna draw a line in the sand, and that line's our kids." Absolutely. So enjoyed our conversations. Likewise, thank you for coming out today, guys. Check out Able Shepherd. Please trust me. I've done this program with my husband, my 3 kids. The emergency family readiness program was amazing. We're signing up for the Protect Our People class and going to be participating in that. So there's so many ways that you can protect your family and plan ahead for these things. But sometimes you just don't know where to start. And if you're a young father or mother and you're going, but I just don't know if my plan would be legit. Just take a course, take it from someone who's been there, done that, wrote the program, and go from there. So we will, we also in our own community at Families of Character have a couples coaching series that has launched. So make sure that you go to familiesofcharacter.com. Parenting is hard. Marriage is difficult at times. And so we want to help you reconnect with your spouse and make sure that you have some clarity over the chaos of the family calendar so that you can bring some peace and unity back into your home. So check out familiesofcharacter.com for that. Thank you again, Jimmy. And we will see you on another episode of the Families of Character Show.